Ed here in Kansas City, Missouri. Today I want to talk about a little tournament we got coming up December 11th with Moyak Fishing a Winter Series. This is my first ever year to do kayak tournaments. Finished third overall for Moyak in the River Series this year, had fun, qualified for the National Championship. Now we're rolling into the Winter Series. There's a 4 tournament series, and the top 3 count for Angler of the Year points. So I'm gonna see how I can do in the Winter Series. I like making my videos real short for you guys, just informative, quick to the point. So I'm gonna talk about the gear I plan on taking to this tournament, and why I plan on taking this gear. So to start out, got my cranking rods. I have two fiberglass, composite glass cranking rods with Daiwa Tatulas, 6:3 to 1 gear ratio. One is a 7'2" heavy action rod from St. Croix. One is a 6.8 lightweight small cranking rod. That's what I throw a lot of my 1.0s and stuff like that. My small swim baits. I love to throw this little guy on it. I got this 3/16 ounce baby squadron head on a Bass Pro 2.75 paddle tail swim bait. Fish absolutely love it, especially when there's a lot of small shad in the water. So I like to throw those two, cranking, small swim baits. Gotta have a finesse rod. You know, the water's crystal clear down here at Table Rock Lake. The fish's metabolism slows down, they start biting smaller lures. You have to have one or two. I only take one, I'm a power fisherman for the most part, but I do have one light rod. This is my Johnny Morrison Carbon Light 2.0. I don't even know how long this thing is. It's a short rod. This is a 6'6" medium action. I run it on 10-pound braid with an 8-pound fluorocarbon leader. I'm learning how to fish this marabou jig right here. That's what I plan on throwing on some of these bluff banks, trying to catch me a limit of spotted bass to get my tournament started off with. Then we get over here. There's a few docks, some bluff banks, where I plan on flipping some heavier jigs and stuff like that. I might even throw the Bellows Gill weightless like a Senko under some docks. This is my 7'3" heavy action Lew's TPX1 rod on a Lew's Pro SP dock skipping reel. I put 22-pound Seaguar, I don't even know what the name of the line is. It's Seaguar line, 22-pound test for flipping. That'll be my bread and butter when I'm fishing the big jigs and stuff. Then over here I got a 7'2" medium power on a Abu Garcia winch. This is my chatterbait rod. It's got some give to it, but it's also got some decent backbone. I like to throw my Z-Man chatterbaits. You know, there's all these other ones out there that cost so much money. These work great. These come in a pack of 2. They're not skirted. Put any kind of soft plastic you want on it to imitate what you're trying to imitate. That's that rod. And then I'll have 1 or 2 of these rods. This is a 7-foot medium heavy all-purpose rod. I got it on an 8-to-1 gear ratio reel. Another Daiwa Tatula. I like my Lew's. I like my Daiwas for the most part. But I'll put 16-pound fluorocarbon line for the clear water. And man, this will run everything. This will run my small swim jigs. This will run anything you want it to run. Chatterbait, spinnerbait. But a lot of times I Texas rig my smaller baits, throw my smaller lightweight jigs with it. So that's my setups. That's what I'm going to have on my kayak. And now we're going to talk about what we do with the lures. GoPro. All right, guys, when I get out here on this tournament, and I'm thinking about cold water bass. In December, the temperatures in this water are going to be below 50 degrees. The temperature outside is going to be below 50 degrees. It's going to be nice and cool. So the bass change up a little bit in the winter. You do have fish that live shallow all year round. So I do have a couple of baits that I like to target up shallow. Kayak, you can't really travel all around the lake and fish all the favorite spots you want to fish. You got to kind of pick an area and roll with it. So when I think about getting in my kayak and heading out to where I have targeted, I'm going to have some kind of search bait on between point A and point B. So I got a variety of search baits here. I got the old tried and true wiggle wart. The Ozarks are known for these guys. I got one in shad color. I got a bunch in craw color. I got bone color. I bet I got 50 of these things in my box. These are my two favorite colors. Some kind of shad, some kind of craw. And then I got the flat-sided KVD shad color crankbait. There's big shad die-offs, and the shad get out on these deep points and school up, and if you can find the shad on your sonar, then you can target those shad. I like to get something that'll get a little bit deeper. It has a really tight vibration. You know, that's pretty basic bass knowledge. In the cold water, you want it to be a little bit tighter. I know this is the exception. There's just something about these Ozark bass. They really like those wiggle warts. All right, guys, so something happened to my GoPro. I don't know what happened. We're talking about search baits. This right here, this is my favorite search bait. This is a wobblehead jig with a Biffle Bug 4.25 inch on a 4/0 EWG hook and a 1/2 to 3/4 ounce head. This is a 1/2 ounce. This head here is made by a friend of mine in Smithville, Missouri, George Sotomayor. He does a great job. He powder coats them and puts flake in them and uses Trocar hooks. It's a top of the line lure made by a friend right here. And I throw this wobblehead jig. I might throw the Z-Crawl, the 6-inch stroker crawl, Z-Man, goat, and white, you know, if I'm trying to imitate a shad. Pretty much any of your favorite creature baits that you got, you can run that. So that's another search bait. And then got the old chatterbait here. You know, I talk about the chatterbait a lot. I hated it forever, and recently I started doing really well on them. I like to run one, look something like a bluegill or a craw, brown, black, orange, and then I like a shad color one. Most people don't think of the chatterbait as a wintertime lure. It's a little bit bigger, it moves a little bit faster. But I can throw that thing on some of these big chunk rock points, let it hit the bottom, and fish it almost as slow as I would this wobblehead jig. And it will get the job done. You will catch some fish on it and probably catch your bigger fish on it. So go from there. You got your standard jigs. I got my Picasso straight shooter slim jig, black and blue. If the water's dirty, if it's super cloudy, I'll fish this thing around the docks, around timber, things like that. You know, anywhere I want to fish a specific target, I'll pick up my swim jigs. This is another Picasso straight shooter. This is just a little 1/4 ounce, and I got a fluke on it. The idea behind that is I want to pitch this where I'm going to have a straight vertical presentation. I'm going to go fish a dock pylon or a bluff bank, somewhere I can drop this lure, let it sink straight to the bottom. It looks like a dying shad. Pop it a couple times, reel it in, hit the next target. That's my goal with that. Then I got my favorite. This is my favorite jig. This is a Luke Clausen jig, brown with the live rubber skirt and a green pumpkin trailer of some sort. This is a Z-Crawl. You know, in the winter, I like to downsize my profile. So I'll put this jig right here. When I can't catch fish, I'll pick this up, and it's my confidence bait, and I can just carry it around, and I know, without a doubt, I'm going to catch 1 or 2 keeper bass on that right there. This is a new jig for me. This is a Picasso little spot. It's a tungsten. It's a small little, I think it's less than a 1/4 ounce, 3/16 ounce probably. Just a small little ball head jig. I got a 2.75 swimmer on it, and I tested this thing out yesterday on a pond, and it really does it. They like it. It's a small profile, mimics a shad. Fish really like it. And then, of course, the standard 2.75 swimmer on a baby squadron head. That heavy hook on that thing, that'll hold any fish. Even though it's a small, compact lure, that thing right there will hold them. And then, I've always heard about fishing winter with a marabou jig. This is a VMC marabou jig. Never fished one until yesterday. I tried it out a little bit, caught a couple little bass on it. It seems to be something that I would like to fish, specifically on bluff walls. Somewhere I can have a straight vertical presentation, kind of like my jig and fluke there. Want to let this thing go down, bounce it a few times, sinks real slow. And then you can also target like you would a drop shot. Find you some brush piles, vertical right above it, fish it real slow, almost like crappie fishing but for bass. And then if you're going to be fishing the winter time, you gotta have a jerkbait. This right here, this is a 6 cents jerkbait. It's my favorite. I love this color. I love their hooks. I love how it casts. I love how it works. I love everything about this lure. And I've caught a ton of bass on that Spanish bone 6 cents jerkbait. It kills them. I don't know what it is about it, but they like it. If the water's super clear, I got a Megabass 110. It was clear. It was a clear lure. But I took some red dye and some chartreuse dye and kind of faded it in there. But it's real translucent. If the water's super, super clear, I like to fish more translucent colors instead of the solid colors. And then if the bite's real tough, I'll put this on my spinning rod. This is a little bitty, tiny little jerkbait. And to be honest with you, I think it's a Rogers brand. I don't think that it's something that Rogers Sporting Goods makes. So that's my lure selection that I plan on using. Could it change up? Yeah, I might end up taking that fluke off a jig and just throwing a fluke. I may switch to a green pumpkin jig. You know, I may switch to a black and blue. You know, anything can happen on the water. But when I hit the water on December 11th, I will have these lures tied on my rods. This is what I plan on fishing. And when December 11th rolls around, we'll give it a shot and I'll let you guys know how it worked out. Thank you. All right, guys, back on the testing pond. I got my new Picasso's tungsten spot killer. I'm gonna give it a shot on this. It's cold. I'm just bored. I got a winter tournament coming up December 11th, and I'm gonna try some of the winter lures I plan on throwing. The idea behind this little jig is in the winter, the bass's metabolism closes down and they can't digest as big of meals as they can in the summertime, and they don't need to eat as often. So I'll drop the size of my lures and see what happens. There he is. Oh, just a little bitty guy. Oh, he got back in the water. What I got here? Oh, I got a big one, guys. I got a. Oh, he came off. God, I had a big one on that little pot sticker jig. Man, that was a 4 or 5 pounder. Let's hook one on the Marabou hair jig. Come here, baby. Oh, he's wormy. Look at that. They will hit it on this little pond. Come here. Another one with the spot sticker. It's not a bad little fish.